Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for giving me an opportunity to express my opinions and the ideas and suggestions on the recent MSME sector, revamping of the MSME sector by the government of India. First of all, the MSME sector is the most important and it is the backbone of the economy of any country, more particularly in India, which contributes not only financially, from the employment point of view, it's one of the biggest ship which gives a lot of employment to the skilled, non-skilled labor to an extent of about 12 crores and more. And it is a sector which has been a little bit neglected by all the governments right from the independence. Today, after 75 years, a little bit of constructive draft policy has been suggested by the government of India, and this is where we take this opportunity to give our inputs, our suggestions and the improvements for the present MSME sector. It's rightly said, as being the backbone of the economy, this particular sector doesn't have an organized, structural, regulatory authorities. This sector is being controlled by multi-layer authorities from the state government from one side, the central government on the other side, and the Reserve Bank of India and the regulated banking, finance bankings on the other side. First of all, when we saw the first point in the draft policy is the standard operating procedure, which is a welcoming proposal, and this has to be implemented. In this, if you go deep into the standard procedural practices, power from the central government is flowing to the districts level. That is where it is a very important factor, where the most of the unorganized sectors of the MSME are being working, more particularly in the rural areas. By virtue of this standard procedure policy, the MSME is having a regulatory, very clarity-oriented approach for all their grievances to start a new industry or problems with the existing unity and other issues in the day-to-day management. That is one aspect of it. Second aspect which we should appreciate in the policy is the exit policy. In India, it is very surprising to see any enterprising, right from the MSME micro level to the corporate level, there is no exit policy being defined in the Indian Constitution or in any regulatory bodies. Now this particular draft policy is giving a clear-cut exit policy at the districts level by suggesting an arbitration facility, wherein MSME, which is having a very sensitive financial management, it's very easy for them to settle their issues and exit out of the business from the arbitration, which is a welcoming proposal and a welcoming change we expected. Apart from that, the standard operating procedures, specially designed for the CDB and the SBA and other banks, therein the finances and the loans and the credits given to the MSME should be on the basis of the cash flow analysis or on the basis of their orders and everything. Is also a welcoming suggestion, and it has to be improved a little bit, and to certain limits, without any security, the credits have to be released, which is being mentioned in this draft policy. That is another highlight of this one. Apart from that, these are the positive points in the draft policy. There is another difficulty which has been not observed or taken importance or taken cognizance by the government of India is the final final release of the credit is at the lower level of any organized financial institution, that is the branch level. The branch level infrastructure in any bank, including the CDB or SBI, they are not properly trained to understand the MSME concept, its spirit, and its importance in contributing to the Indian economy. So here, from Help Industry Federation, I suggest that a 1 week training program every quarter to the branch managers who are in charge for the MSME sector should be made it a mandatory to undergo for the training as per the MSME credit policies, MSME changes, MSME concept understanding. This is a must. Whatever the policies, good policies which are being implemented by the RBI or the Government of India, till date they are not successful. Whatever the policy in the form of financial volumes or the number of MSME units are not benefited because the low level manager, who is the person over the table in contact with the entrepreneur, is not aware. Only 30% of the policies designed by the Government of India or the RBI are being affected ultimately to the ground level. So this has to go. For this, as I suggested, a training program for the MSME managers, especially every quarter or 6 months, is a must, where the manager will be able to understand the concept and also go a hand-holding process with the entrepreneur. These are my observations. These are my positive points of this policy, and the negative point which is a must. I request the Government of India to give emphasis for this point of training the managers for the MSME credit policies. Thank you.